Hi, it's Tim and Richard with the next episode of Armchair Quarterbacks.
Howdy. I got nothing.
Today, we will start with our interesting use of AI. And today it may not be so interesting, but still be kind of fun. And then we're going to kind of dig in deep to the topic that we thought we'd get to last time, but we had this really interesting conversation, which meant that we never got to this topic, which is when should you outsource or build in-house? So we'll kind of explore that topic for a little bit, and then we will make this week's prediction. So that's the plan. And if you don't mind, I'll kick off with the interesting use of AI. And over this last week, really been focused with my AI use on images and graphics and whatnot. So a couple things. Each holiday season, I have historically taken Photoshop and modified our Zoom background to include some seasonal reference. Last year, it was Santa and his sleigh flying through the air in silhouette. I think I did a Rudolph one year, and this year I turned AI loose on our Zoom background, and it turned into a snow-covered 3D logo on the ground with Santa flying through the air in his sleigh with some reindeer. And we've also switched from Zoom to Google Meet. So not only did it create this new image, it also right-sized it for Google Meet because, of course, it has to take a different image size. So that was one use. The other use was I'm trying to think of just fun ways to brand Armchair Quarterbacks a little bit. And, of course, that's going to be around AI. And I started off and I made, I found a picture of Richard and me, and I had AI turn us into plushie dolls, which turned out awfully cute. And then the Seahawks were playing on Thursday Night Football, and I had AI turn me into a bobblehead of the Seahawks with the Seahawks uniform, holding the football on a pedestal with the Seahawks helmet on. So that was fun. But I would say, by and large, no hardcore, like serious business driving use of AI this week. But I did have a good time.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Truly excellent.
Truly excellent.
One good, one bad. So on the good side, I have a client who's considering a business combination with someone else in their field. It's actually would be a pretty good strategic combination in that they serve slightly different market. They have slightly different solutions to a common customer. They don't necessarily have an overlapping footprint, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so I wanted to pull together. I saw the deck from the CEO about this potential combination because he wants to use it as he needs to get funding to do the acquisition, right? So it was about how to best articulate this combination in to an investor group in order to raise the capital necessary to bring these two businesses together. So I told ChatGPT, you are an expert in this market. You will go look up this company A and learn what you can about their market positioning, their product, culture, team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you will look up company B, its products, market positioning, culture, team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then give me feedback on what a combined positioning would look like, what the synergies would actually be, pardon the use of the word synergies, but what the synergies, would be from a customer's perspective. I think a lot of times people look at business combinations or even their own business and they think inside out. And I'm always one, pardon me, I'm always one to be trying to think outside in. How's the market going to think about this? Do they value this? Like we value this. Like a lot of his deck was in the cost synergies and things like that. But it was very inside out. And so it gave me a lot of feedback on outside in that ended up being really good. I added 3 slides to his deck, just 3. I forced myself down to 3, and he left them in, so that must be a good sign. Please.
When you say outside in,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
do you mean exclusively from a customer perspective or also from an investor perspective?
Really more from a customer perspective, from the market perspective.
Yeah, interesting.
The market trumps all, pardon the use of that word, depending on your political background. The market trumps all. I've been part of fantastic companies, great teams, interesting products, great systems and communication and culture and blah, blah, blah. And the company failed because the market didn't need that mousetrap. And then I've been part of companies where it was backbiting, the systems suck, everything is work, everything is a problem, everything is a headache. But you have to move piles of money out of your way to get to the next meeting. I mean, just absurdly profitable, growing in double digits and 40% to the bottom line. Just absurdly profitable because the market really needed it. So the market trumps all. You can build the best mousetrap in the world. And the old adage is not true. And I think has done a lot of people a disservice. Build a better mousetrap and the world will beat a path to your door. That's the original trite statement. It's not true. It's not, at least not in today's world. People have to have mice. And people have to believe that their cat isn't doing the job or whatever solution they have today. I've seen so many great technologies lose, not to competitors, which is something investors always ask. Tell me about but they lose to the no decision. They lose to whatever I'm doing today is good enough.
You know what's interesting is we, Integrate IQ, we didn't ever have very, very, very rarely had a no decision as the close lost. Of our close lost, it's probably 40, 50%.
Yeah.
And that's true as of this last year.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I think that's the truth. That probably always was the truth. And too many times I see investors pitching ideas, pitching businesses that don't take that option into consideration. They think of the customer's options as being me and the competition like me.
Right.
And it's like, nope, your biggest competition is whatever the hell they're doing today.
Yeah.
The problem exists. Mice exist. And they might be saying, I'm living with it. I got a cat. I sweep up after them.
There's no ROI.
There's no ROI for me to spend $1,000 on your fancy mouse catching system. And then what do I do with the mouse after you catch it? I don't care. You know what I mean? It's like, sometimes people are just like, no, actually you make it worse, right?
Wow.
You think you're solving a problem, but you didn't listen.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Right?
Happens all the time.
Listen, learn, evolve.
Oh, but that's the most salient, brilliant thing I think I may have ever heard.
Yeah. Tim came up with that. So
we came up with that in a company 4 companies ago.
Yeah, at least.
It was good. Speaking of companies that should have gone.
Yeah.
That's it. That was a good one.
100%.
Called Mobile Evolution.
But there's a great example. I will get to my second thing. But there's a great example of today's topic.
Yeah.
Which is we were the right choice for people who should be for our prospects to outsource the services we provided.
Yeah.
And more often than not, they either were satisfied with what they did in-house, satisfied with a current service provider, at layering on that stuff, even though they weren't good at it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So on the bad side of large language models, the 2 things that I had happen this week are, number one, when I'm teaching at the UW, I always throw the first slide on the screen as students are collecting, and it's usually a quote by someone famous, something appropriate for today's topic. And what was interesting is I was trying to clean up my deck, so I threw my deck in there, and it wanted to change the quote. It wanted to make the quote better. And the quote actually, the ChatGPT's version of the quote would have been a better quote, but wasn't actually said by Peter Drucker. You know what I mean? It's like, right? So I found that interesting.
Truthiness is still a problem.
Yeah, truthiness is still a problem. And it knew that it was a quote. It knew it was by, like, it even, I think, referred to the book in which it came from. And it's like, but still, it just blew past that and was like, here's better words, recommended words, right? So I have it give original and then recommended, original and recommended slide by slide. So that was thing number one. Thing number two is, might have been the same deck, might have been another deck. I have it produce my images. That way I'm not just stealing copyrighted images off the internet, which is what I used to do for educational purposes only. It's an appropriate use of copyrighted material. Anyway, so I have ChatGPT make the images for my slides. And I've got, that way also, they're very consistent. Thematically, my decks are always consistent, from plushies colors to tone to imagery, right? Yes. Exactly. Perfect example. And I was having it like recommend an image based on the content of the slide. Next, right? And it kept coming back with, what's it when you like a stock photo? It's stock photo like, not stock photos, but stock photo like imagery. You know, people sitting around, you know, business people standing around pointing at a thing, or right? Yeah, exactly. Looking at a chart on a screen, you know, and the other people sitting there. It was so boring and uncreative and caricature like, and it was just, and so I said no. I think I actually wrote no. This is boring, uncreative, caricature like, and looks like a stock photo. Do better. That's all I wrote. I was just like, by now it knows that I don't want this stuff. Like, I've done enough images that it knows what it should know, what I like and don't like. And the fact that it was offering up these trite things, and I'm like, don't be so explicit.
Paying for the pro version.
Yeah. And so, you know, don't be so explicit with the words on the page. Like, surprise me, sort of thing. It's not what the words I said, but I was, and then it did. And so I've got, there was one slide which talked about courage. And what it gave, and it's white lettering on a black background, or it's supposed to be stark and dramatic. And the image it gave me was also not necessarily in black and white, but mostly black, white, shades of gray. An anvil with a piece of metal getting worked, right? A piece of steel getting worked. It's sparks coming off of it, and the metal was red, but the anvil was black, and the background was grayish. It was and if you think about courage, right? And think about strength. It is, that which is made by working the strongest steel. Like that image made sense in that context, right? It wasn't like, look, I'm strong. It was, which would have been a caricature. So what's my point? My point is, be very careful when you're asking it for quotes, that's actual quotes. Not its best version of that quote. And then second is, if you're not satisfied with the imagery you're getting, don't give up, give it feedback and make it do better. I have heard so many people tell me that ChatGPT, all the large language models, are not creative. And I just refuse to agree with that, because it's more creative than me, and I'm not that bad. Right? So, but when it is being trite, then tell it and demand better. And you'll be surprised what you get. Like, I've got some great imagery. Like, when it came to strategy, it had, people pointing at a board or sitting around a table, whatever. And it moved to like a chess piece, but done in a very stylistic way. And if you think about chess is almost
It's all strategy.
the metaphor of strategy, right?
Mhm.
And why didn't I think of that? I didn't think of like focus on or games of strategy as in order to generate your images. But once I told it to do better, it did think of that, and it's like then it sparked a whole line of thinking for me that helped. So anyway, just thoughts.
It's fun. It's become a thought partner for you.
Absolutely, yeah. It is my research. One thing I don't like is the fact I have a friend a former workmate who calls it the over-eager intern.
Mhm.
And if you think about the feedback he gives, you're right. What a great question. And like it always first, shame on me for having delivered these trite images to you before. You're so right. I could, and it's just like, I don't need all the language. So now I often ask it, I'm going to upload some stuff. I'm going to ask you some questions, but let me do it all first before I ask a question. Don't start offering things before I ask my question, because I get distracted by all the threads it puts in there. And then I'm like, can you repost what you said about the thing that you said sometime? Because I don't want to go, I'm lazy. I don't want to go back and I want you to wait. I want to upload my stuff. I want to ask specific questions. I want to get answers back. And like on the good side of management, you give feedback to your staff in order for them to do better. So I'm totally willing to give feedback to the staff in this case, a large language model, in order for it to do better. But I need it to not be the overeager and try to finish my sentences for me and jump ahead, because that I lose my train of thought when you do that. I need to just say what I'm going to say and then have you react. So I have taught it that, and now it will oftentimes, I'll be like, wait, did I upload it or not? Like, did you get the file? Yes.
I'm waiting for you.
Yeah, I'm waiting. So
interesting.
which is good because I lose my train of thought. If you give me too much to think about.
100%.
Overeager intern.
And I'm not sure this is a word, the verbosity, the verboseness. We're part of the Amazon Alexa beta program where they're introducing AI into our Alexas and Echoes. And the freaking personality is so verbose. If I'm asking Alexa a question, I've renamed that one. I want like a, yes, I will do that. Or I have added that to the list. Or I will remind you. Or the timer is
I don't have time
5 minutes. I don't want a conversation with you.
You're not my friend.
Yeah.
I have friends.
Yeah.
Like, for people that don't have friends, great.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not one of them.
They can train you differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm with you on that. I am so with you on that.
What's interesting is I'm just thinking about this thought about verbosity and personalities for AI. I forget the name of the AI in Tony Stark's house.
Yes.
Jarvis was pretty verbose and
had sass,
and I didn't find it annoying
because it was a character in a movie. Yeah,
maybe.
And wasn't it the voice of the character that has like the diamond down his head?
They did a merge.
Yeah,
they did an integration.
Yes. I have, and maybe I've gotten overly critical of the verboseness and the overeager intern because my understanding is that the overeager internness, that over positivity, over agreeing with you, patting you on the back and telling you how awesome you are, is a way to manipulate you into thinking more positively about the answers it's giving you. It's a way to manipulate me into accepting the answers I've given and turn off my critical thinking, which is the number one thing that you can't do when you have, like, it should enhance your critical thinking as a tool, not turn it off. And so I I get furious when I feel manipulated. So I know there's probably part of that in my attitude toward this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can provide at least ChatGPT. I think probably each LLM overriding instructions. So you might, if you haven't done that, you might think about it.
Yeah, I noticed that it does learn some over time. Like none of the images it gives me have people in it because I tell it, never give me an image with people in it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Do you use voice when you're interacting?
I don't.
Do you use the app?
I don't. I need to do that more. And I will ask it questions. Like I'll open up the app, but it's not running live all the time. Like yours is like you can just sit and be hiking and have a conversation with it. And mine, I turn on the microphone, I ask my question, and then I hit go. And so it's more like using the microphone on a Google search. That's not
right.
Yeah, that's not what you're talking about.
I have to load it. So I haven't had it loaded, but so I have the new iPhone. I freaking hate the lower right hand button. It's supposed to be a camera. I hate it.
Do you hit it all the time next time?
All the time. Every time I pick up that phone, that's where I grab.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, well, maybe normal people don't. I do. But you can also program that button to do anything. And I've just decided, sitting here with you today, I'm going to have it be ChatGPT.
Because you might as well have that wake up every time you pick up your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like having the instant camera button because the hawk, the eagle, the fish, they're like, because you can't, right? It's the gone.
Can you move a little to your right?
Yeah,
please?
no, you got to be like Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
In taking some photographs. So I do like that function. I use it all the time. Boom.
And I saw a big bald eagle today, which was fun.
So we were down volunteering at a farm yesterday to help after the cleanup, help the cleanup after the floods. And there was a pair there that were talking to each other, right?
Cool.
And that like it. And it's so distinctive, like, so my head immediately shot around and I'm there standing with the owner and she said, yeah, and they've been, cause I'm like, it's coming from over here. And she's like, well, they live in those trees, but they've been coming in lower, because there's so many fish in the field that got, as part of the flood, there were whatever, but then now there's fish. He's like, I've got video of them of fish being left on the road, like just being flopping on the road.
Crazy. Wow.
And so they're doing a lot of fishing right now in the fields.
Yeah.
Fishing in the fields.
Man, it's
she had a waste management dumpster.
A fish?
No, a waste management dumpster sitting there at the, like where her circle drive before her house and a section of barn. And it's just sitting there and we're like cleaning up stuff around it. And I'm like, can we just dump it in there? She's like, that's not mine. So I'm like, so yes, a dumpster floated in. She's like, yes, it's right on a something or other bed. Like a bed of
kale or whatever.
It was flowers, I think. This was by her home and stuff, and she's like, and they only grow in old wood. They don't grow in new wood. So I don't know if I have to start all over again. And yeah, she was overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Anyway, excuse me.
Let's talk about insourcing and outsourcing.
Yeah.
So just a reminder that the topic last week was, when should you think about insourcing? When should you hire internally for a function, and when should you bring someone in? If you're open to it, I would love to. I said the same thing.
You said bring something in. Bring someone in.
That's nice. Yeah, thank you.
When should you hire for it or bring someone in? No. When should you build those resources internally or do that function internally? Or when should you have an outside firm or outside
buyer
consultant do it for you?
Yeah.
either that function or that product or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My thinking around this is pretty simplistic. I think I bet you could add a
Mine is
ton
probably
of,
serious. Mine probably the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's bring it in house if it's an ongoing need,
Okay.
and if it's strategic.
Okay.
If it's a sort of a make work kind of thing, particularly if it's a make work kind of thing that is short term, then hire it out, or automate it if you can. AI, right? Accounting, legal, so many things now, and so many things in the future will be AI-ified. So that's how I would approach that idea. Do you?
Yeah, I think we're thinking on similar lines. You said if it's ongoing or strategic, those were kind of your cutoffs. I think I definitely would agree with the latter. I'm not sure I would agree with the former. And so here's my thinking. So anything that's mission critical, you probably should, if you don't have those muscles built up, you probably should build those muscles.
Yeah.
Anything that's related to your secret sauce. If you are a robotics company, like maybe you're not building the motors, but you want to definitely be building the software, right? So, what's another example of
Anything that's creating IP for you, because if you ever want to think about multiples or selling or financing, you want to be able to claim that IP.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
Anything, yeah. So definitely anything that's your secret sauce, anything that's your intended area of competitive advantage, anything that's tied with your primary deliverable to your customer, anything like that. If you don't have that muscle memory, ability, you need to build it. Anything else, you could give strong consideration to finding a partner to do it for you. So ongoing, your accounting is ongoing. Doesn't mean you bring that in house, right?
Yeah.
Your accounting is not part of the straight line between you and your customer. There might be a customer invoice in there somewhere. So you might want to have touches in that and make sure, like, you will use this structure. You will communicate with my customers this way. Like, hey, accounting, if you ever have to talk to a customer about collections or this, that, and the other, like, I'm going to dictate how that interaction works. Or you're going to bounce it back to me and I'm going to have that interaction, okay? Because it's customer touch. So I can't imagine a company outsourcing their customer success, even though it might be rote, might be whatever. I see companies do it. Don't get me wrong. It's not that I can't imagine it. I just don't know if it's a good idea. And I see companies do it because, like, oh, well, those people, they're great at, this company is great at doing telephone support and blah, blah, blah. They do it cheaply. They do it better than we'll ever do it, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And so now you have the lowest cost provider doing your customer touches primarily when your customers are unhappy about something.
Oh.
I don't talk to customer success, except it's like payroll, to use an accountant's thing. Like, you don't get a pat on the back for doing payroll right. You absolutely get crucified if you screw up payroll. As well it should. So I think it's really fascinating to me when I watch companies outsource, like the telephone companies did it for a while. I think they turned around and brought that all back in-house. I think AT&T and T-Mobile, I think a lot of them have their own managed customer service.
That's
things.
really interesting.
They might have it in faraway places, and it might be whatever, but
But it's all internal.
But it's all
You think it's FTEs?
Controlled by, I don't know how it's economically managed. So maybe you're right. Maybe it's economically managed differently. But I would first start with like get rid of the easy stuff, the stuff that I don't intend to be good at, that other people are great at and can do it less expensively than me. Anything that's fractional, where it's like building that muscle is going to take like a step up in investment, but you can do it for less.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a whole set of skills in that. Let's say you're doing, gosh, you're doing fire detection equipment. You're doing a fire alarm. And your fire alarm is a smart fire alarm that communicates with things and you can understand stuff. I don't know. Like a smart fire
you can
alarm.
alert people, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Smart fire alarm. Like actually making the sensor that tells whether there's a fire or not. You don't need to. That's done before. And that's not your secret sauce.
It's not value add.
Right?
Yeah.
That's your secret sauce is in the communication, in the customer service, in the information around that, in the whatever it is that makes your fire alarm special. It's not in the plastic. It's not in, it fits on the ceiling. But it would surprise me if it isn't in your
software.
Interactions with customers, right? It's going to be in your software. It's going to be in your interactions. So I would get rid of the hardware. I would get rid of the sensors. I may even get rid of packaging and distribution and assembly and all that stuff. Like, is that really your secret sauce? Can I really be the best in the world at assembling a fire alarm, a consumer fire alarm? Probably not, right? I probably can't.
Yeah.
And that's not my secret sauce.
Right.
I'm going to find somebody for that.
Yeah.
And I'll try to focus as much as possible on most favored nation pricing. Like, if you're making these fire alarms for someone else, what are you charging them? I don't want you charging me more.
Right. Or
to make it competitive, right?
You can't
have a level playing field.
Non-competes, right?
Yeah. Have a level playing field.
Anyway,
that's pretty much my entire thoughts on the subject.
So our business, custom system integration, any customer with an IT group could potentially do an integration. The output of that could very well be secret sauce. Could be, add leverage to a business. It should. There has to be an ROI if you're going to hire somebody outside. But it's so specialized and one-off. Do you want to train up your IT staff to do that system integration, to learn the APIs, to understand triggers and data transformation, to figure out how to do the mapping, to work with your teams, to deeply understand their business requirements and objectives? So I think maybe the argument I'm making is there's an area of specialization where you also don't want to bring something in-house. Custom system integration hopefully only happens once. There's changes as your business evolves, right? But the big lift only happens once. And do you really is that how you want your IT team in this instance spending their time? Do you want to get on their time schedule, fit it into their roadmap, make sure that they are maintaining the system that gets built in the way that you would expect, are responsive to you and your business unit needs, where the IT teams have other initiatives, right? They're configuring laptops and sending out printers and stuff.
Yeah. There's a couple of things you provoked as I thought about that. Number one, you're describing a situation where the existing IT team doesn't have the capacity to take on this project. So the question is, do I hire in-house a new effort to do this, right? I.e. in-house versus outsourcing.
Yep.
So the first thing is, having someone squeeze it in the extra hours in the day is not what we're talking about. We're talking about like, hey, it's a big enough thing that I need to either build the muscle internally to do this action or hire someone to do it for me. So, so a couple things. Number one, if they don't have the capacity, then yeah, I have to hire someone new, and then I've got the hiring risks, the additional cost of that person. And if it truly is kind of a one-time thing, or it's a pig going through a snake, right? You got a bolus of work and then it kind of tails off. Well, you don't need a person fully for that. That's a project. And then it's like, then what do I do with this person, right? So I'm going to turn around and fire him, I guess. So there's that piece where if it's temporary, almost by nature, you should give it consideration to making it a project and either having people do it in the extra hours of the day or hiring someone to do it. The second thought I had, oddly enough, was in medicine.
Before you move on,
yeah, no, please.
I'll just ask you a question. How many IT teams have you run into that have extra bandwidth?
Yeah, they don't, which is why I said what I said.
I don't know.
I think we're talking about a group that's already full, and now you're going to add a project to them, and they're going to be the first to say, "Oh heck no, have someone do that. Like have someone else do that." Either I need another headcount, because a lot of times folks like that want to have it in house.
Build a fiefdom.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you as an executive have to think about the longer story arc than they're probably thinking about, because they're like, I'll bring a person in. It's like, okay, what are you going to do with them after 6 months?
I'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll worry about that in 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's bucket number one. Bucket number two, oddly enough, made me think about medicine. And so let's take, who's the running, I don't know why I can't think about his name, the running back for the Eagles.
Barkley.
So
Saquon Barkley. So
let's say, no, we don't want to jinx anything, anywhere, anytime.
You are not.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Emmitt Smith.
So Emmitt Smith, back when he was running back for the Dallas Cowboys, smart guy, great guy, certainly all the talent in the world. Would it have been possible for him to learn how to set a broken leg if he broke his own leg? Yes. There was all the capacity there in the world for him to have that knowledge.
Yep.
But if it were to happen, we don't have the time for him to go back to medical school to set that leg. We need someone to do it quickly, right? So time, I think, is a second dimension where
that's good.
It's like, okay, I could hire someone, scope out the project, build it in house, test it in house, et cetera, and build that capacity and all the knowledge necessary to do that capacity.
Yeah.
Or I could hire Tim because they obviously have the knowledge and they have the capacity, so I can get this done now rather than get this done in 3 years.
And they've set 20 legs.
Yeah, and right. Exactly. Like, it's not just the knowledge, it's the experience, right?
Right.
So can a running back learn medicine and set their own leg? Sure. I'll totally stipulate that.
Yeah.
Is it even rational to consider that as an option if they were to break their leg? No. Right? No. So I know I go to extremes in order to make my point. So hopefully that made my point. I forget the third point I was going to make. It was probably the best point of all. But no, those I guess are the. 2 points is number one, don't get into the capacity fallacy. And that's not you. I'm saying don't get into the capacity fallacy thinking, oh, my team can do this. Sure. Like a running back, they could set their own leg. And like all IT teams in the world, they've got plenty of time to work on that extra project
and maintain it,
and then maintain it going forward, right? Because it's never just once.
Yeah.
There is an inverse relationship. I think it's not Dunning-Kruger. It's named after 2 psychologists that came up with the concept, which is there's an inverse relationship with a person's expertise and experience in an area and the person's belief in how good they are in an area. So, in other words, I know a little something about football. So clearly I'm an expert in football. And the more you end up knowing on a subject, the more expertise and experience you have in a subject, the more you realize there's so much more to know. The more humble you see, the people that know the most end up being the most humble. The people that know very little end up holding themselves out as experts. You see it in the comments section of every newspaper, right? Everyone's an expert, and you know that they have very little expertise. And then the more and more and more someone knows, the more they are willing to acknowledge, damn, I got a lot more to learn, right?
Yep.
So remember that when you think when you hear people as an executive, when you hear your staff talk about, oh, we can do that. Oh, that's not that hard. I can have it done in a month. I can buy, like, it always takes twice as long. It always costs twice as much. Like whatever they say, it's the double. Like that always, it's the same double investors do, right? They'll always think about your performance. They cut it in half. And they always think about the timeline you say it's going to happen in, and they always double the timeline. And you should do the same thing because they ain't wrong.
That is really good insight.
Right? It's not
absolutely true. And I think that's insight that's gained from doing this for 25 years and raising tens of millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions
of dollars.
Lots of bruises.
Yeah, that's really valuable. Well done.
I'm the best.
You got to be real close to the best.
Anyway, so that's my thoughts on insourcing and outsourcing.
Beauty.
I do remember the third thing. The third thing I was going to say is you said that the doing the integration between these systems, having that bigger view of your data is strategic. And it absolutely is a system, is information that supports strategic decision-making, strategic planning. I would also argue that activity of generating that information is not on your core line of what you are best in class at. Because that's inside out. That's an inside out thing. Like, I want to be best in class at using information to support my business. Great. And your customer is willing to pay you extra for that. No.
Yeah. So here's how I think about that. Putting the data together, creating information, probably not strategic to your business. It's creating information. You have 5 data sources, siloed data, you have operations data, financial data, sales data, marketing data, so on and so forth. Putting that together, not strategic to your business. Taking that consolidated information,
Okay.
and turning the information into insight, preferably actionable insight, is strategic.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not disagreeing with you. So let's start there. Is what I'm about to say is I fully agree with what you just said.
We should stop here.
We should stop here. Period. Next. My point was less about whether that has value, whether that even has offers you the ability to have a competitive advantage. Walmart uses its information and logistical leverage in order to roll back prices and put mom and pop businesses out of business everywhere across small town Americas. And then, sorry, Walmart, I didn't say that out loud. I was talking about someone else. Anyway,
Named Walmart.
yeah. Anyway, but that's why they've been successful, right? Is they can use their leverage, both on the information side and on the logistics side, in order to crush cost. If you're a supplier to Walmart, I tip my hat. In order to crush costs, to pass those costs on, and in that way, they're providing value to their customers, right? So they have linked it to their customers. They could not have. They could have said, we're going to match all the competitive prices where our customers live based upon the competition in that area. They could do that by zip code. They could do that like literally. Yeah. They have the ability to easily have different prices among their stores in order to literally match every price everywhere. And in that way, maximize their profits.
Yeah.
That's not what they chose to do. They chose to pass that on. So you can use that information in a way that provides competitive advantage for you that's not providing value for your customer. Competitive advantage doesn't have to be from a customer's perspective. It can be solely from an internal and competitive perspective. And that's what I would argue is the primary use of this worldview of information, is it's making you more competitive. It's 100% making your customers more competitive. They may choose to pass some of those benefits on to their customers. They may choose to keep them solely internally. They may choose to put other people out of business. Like they may choose to do competitive things from an inside-out perspective. What I'm saying when it comes to what critical things do you have to make sure you do yourself, I'm saying anything that's from the customer's perspective about what's your differentiator, that should always be internal.
Yes.
Everything else is open for discussion. I'm not saying you should. Yep. I'm saying it should be open for discussion. Yeah. And the reason I feel relatively strongly about this level of clarity is because it also then, especially for young organizations, focuses management's thinking and focuses your resource on that line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And saying everything else, screw it.
I think there's that's interesting. There's an ecosystem and a capability today that I think enables organizations to outsource more.
Mm-hmm. 100%, I agree.
To tap into, and probably in economics that demand it, particularly for younger companies, right? Where you're not going to go out and probably hire a full-time power CFO in your example, but as you're coming up, you need a fraction of the CFO's time and experience, and it will jumpstart where or CRO or whatever the C-suite role is, will help jumpstart and accelerate growth.
The entire back office, for any startup, should be an extra hat that the founders wear until they can't wear it no more. And or should be an efficient outside provider.
Yeah.
Someone who, from their perspective, has said, this is my thing that I'm going to be kick-ass at.
Right.
So even manufacturing, what did I say? Fire detectors.
Yep.
Like there's folks out there that are like, you know what we do best in this world?
Fire alarms.
We make stuff.
Yep.
And one of the things we are awesome at making, frickin' fire alarms. Like anything, we do anything that's wrapped in plastic that has electronics inside. I don't know how to make firmware or software or connect, but when it comes to having robots and people that attach stuff to boards and put boards in plastic cases, and we are the world's best, and we'll ship anywhere, and we'll build it overnight, and we'll deliver it on time. When it like that,
Yeah.
that's their thing.
Yeah.
Everything else besides, look, you give me a set of drawings, and I'll have samples on your desk in 48 hours. Like anything outside of that.
Yep.
And for every other company, I do back office accounting and HR and whatever, and I'm kick-ass at it, and you don't have to think about anything else. Just because I know what you should be thinking about. When you get that order in 48 hours, putting samples on that guy's desk.
Yeah.
I'll handle everything else.
Focus on your
And that
product.
IT guy will handle that side of your business, and make sure your Wi-Fi is working, and that you can download the CAD files, and you've got the CAD software working, right up to your 3D printer, and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
lawn care. They do not have to be good at IT. IT might be strategic. IT might give them information to give them a competitive advantage. IT might be important.
Yeah.
But in the end, we make your lawn perfect.
Yeah.
You are going to be so proud, and your neighbors are going to be jealous. And that's how I win. Everything else.
It's funny that you mentioned that particular example. Our biggest segment in the last 3 weeks, last month, lawn care. Like I for whatever reason, we're getting a ton of lawn care leads.
I know this, so that's why I picked that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you for that. It's been really funny, interesting, and we don't frankly know what's uncovered. We think it's probably AEO, answer engine optimization, or SEO that we've done on the website, and we've now done enough business in that market where we're being referred around in it. It's pretty specialist knowledge, but
yeah. Going back to the other thing you said, which is in a world, in this modern world where there's more opportunities to outsource stuff, I think that it makes economic sense. It might have been the words you even used.
I would say capabilities, not opportunity. I think there's always been the opportunity, but the business models to support that, the systems, just the concept of outsourcing didn't exist. Like if I think 30
vertically
years
integrated
ago,
businesses, heck, they wanted to go from tree to paper to the newspaper.
GE, and you think about GE, and oh my god, I'm blanking on the guy's name that ran GE.
Jack Welch.
Yeah, Jack Welch. He wanted everything to be vertically integrated, and yeah.
So
the world has changed.
Yeah. So one, I think the economies of the world are so integrated nowadays, right? So you have access to. I could find creating a product as a consumer product, and it really couldn't be made here in the U.S. because we didn't really have the capability to make it here in the U.S. anymore. I forget what it was. And went to Taiwan, and there was a whole street kind of dedicated to making that thing. Like all the vendors were on that street, and we went into town with like an advisor sort from like a consultant for
Whatever it was.
doing that in Taiwan, and just like, we'll talk to this guy about this, we'll talk to this guy about this, we'll talk to this guy about this. And because the gravitational center was there, and they had enough there, it was possible. But here in the States, it's like, we wouldn't have that all in one place. It'd be like this guy on the West Coast and this guy on the East Coast. And
Yeah.
like, so it wasn't a matter of like, oh crap, we got to get that thing from those guys, or let's just cross the street and get it, right? Because it was manufacturing, right? It was about stuff.
Yeah.
And so logistics was like, well, we call that guy. And it was a pretty small industry. I can't remember what it was, but it was a pretty small industry. And it's like, it worked in Taiwan. It would never work in the US, and it worked in Taiwan because they had that gravitational center there and the economies of scale necessary to make it economically viable.
Yeah.
And I think in many ways, because the world economy is so large now, it allows for a lot of really niche stuff. And so now there's multiple providers and anything you want to outsource.
Yeah.
You can find it, and you can find it in your area, and you can like, it's just, anyway, that's
I think about
possible
that.
now.
I think about that a lot with an integrated product. Let's call it a physical product. Let's say it's the we have these Pyrex leftover containers here, and they have lids, and those lids have little snappy things on them that lock out air and lock the lids on. Someone had to make those little snappy things, and so I think about there's a 1/4-inch screw that holds that plate into that outlet plate into the wall. Someone had to make that 1/4-inch screw in that color, in that particular size. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah,
the level of detail now.
And sometimes the lot sizes are surprisingly small, but the organizations are nimble enough that they can change their tooling and make it. So it's like, you know what, we've got this screw that needs to not only be a 1/4-inch deep, and I want it to have a flat face because it's only a 1/4-inch deep. It's not self-tapping going into wood, but I want it to have a very wide gauge between the screw. Like, sure, gotcha. It's being made right now.
Yeah, I did it from my iPhone.
CNC machine is cranking it out right now, and so I think we would be surprised at how many products actually are not made in the millions, right? You got someone slaving over a thing, making 1/4-inch screws all day. It's like, you know what? In today's world, we make 1/4-inch screws like half a day on January 15th, and we try to make enough for the rest of the year because that's all the market there is for that. Like, and the systems are so efficient that I can make 100,000 in a day, and I only need 50,000. So I like set the machine up for half a day, and then I got to know by that afternoon what I'm making next.
Yeah.
Like it's,
yeah.
The flip side of that, I have wondered, it really made me wonder during COVID. So I'll start with the example and then we'll get back to my question on it. During COVID, when all the hospitals were over full like that, and it wasn't that 50 million people in the US all got sick and had to be hospitalized, right? You always see those end of the world sort of movies, an Armageddon of some sort, Snowmageddon, Sharknado-ageddon, whatever, right? And millions of people are all need hospitalization at the same time. Like, we're talking about an extra 1,000 people in Seattle, or a few thousand people in Seattle. It wasn't everyone in Seattle or half of Seattle needed hospitalization. It was like there was an uptick in the number of people that went in, and all the beds were wiped out, and it was a crisis, and et cetera, et cetera. And it made me think all the way back to the 80s when we moved away from manufacturing in lots to just-in-time manufacturing, right? Where the main idea is essentially the idea of a Kanban, where you've got an area where you're going to have some materials in that are being used in the next step, let's say. And so the person, their cue to do their thing is that their outbox ends up being empty. So they're like, the outbox is empty. I will grab stuff out of my inbox and I will do my thing and I will put it in the outbox. That empty your empty inbox is someone
It's
else's
yours.
empty outbox.
My queue.
And so in manufacturing, what we did is instead of saying, okay, we're going to issue like 50,000 stuff in your inbox and you keep making it until it's in your outbox. And then you, Richard, you make 50,000 things out of your inbox and put it in your outbox. And so there ends up being 50,000 things in your inbox, 50,000 things in my inbox, 50,000 things. Like the amount of inventory in the old system,
Yeah.
in the old sort of lot system was huge.
Yeah.
It was lots. And so if you had to do rework, if you had to go back, if you had it was so much waste. And given the fact that there was very little space, it's primarily in Japan where just-in-time systems came out, and that's where this idea of a Kanban, right? A visual cue that is time to do a thing, right? And it's a demand pull, right? It's not a push. In the old system, you push 50,000 in, and then you do your thing, then I do my thing, and blah, blah, blah. This is a demand pull in that someone sells something, creates an open box. I'll finish. He'll do his thing. They'll do their. Right? It goes all the way down the line in a pull motion as opposed to we're going to push and we're going to push and we're going to push and we'll end up with too much inventory in the end.
And the sales guy's like, oh shit, I got 50,000 of these things. Now what do I do?
I better sell them.
I'll discount.
Right? But the point being, in that system, let me make a separate point first. So you get the two systems. Great. Healthcare, I think, has become more like the demand pull, where at one time it was like, we build a hospital, we build beds, we build capabilities, and then we'll figure out how to keep the beds full. And now it's like, well, we only have the beds that we know we need from a demand pull perspective. And we keep, in order to make things more efficient, in order to hold the cost down, imagine the cost in a push system for all that inventory, for all the idle time sitting around, for all the whatever, right? In a demand pull system, people are more steady and more busy. There's less inventory in the system. So there were less beds inventory in the system because we were having just enough beds for the level of hospital noise that was necessary.
Yeah.
So any glitches to that, just like any sort of big demand run in a manufacturer who's doing just in time, like tears the system apart. All of a sudden you're scrambling or you're setting up a second or third line and you're trying to catch up with that demand. Any sort of shock to demand is going to be painful. And I think that's what we found on the medicine side. COVID. Is that we kept pushing it down to be as most efficient as possible because medicine is so costly, which it is, but medicine is so costly. How do we make it more and more and more efficient? How do we make the hospital more and more and more efficient? How do we get rid of, how do we increase the room use and the bed use and the right use of all the doctors? We got to keep working on those things. A doctor that sees 40 patients a day, averaging 15, can they see 5 more patients? Can they see 4 more patients? Can they have a 10% increase in their day? I think the answer is no. They were already tapped at 40, right? So going all the way, what does this mean? Going all the way back to thinking about your staff, going all the way back to what should you insource and what you should outsource and how to be really strategic about that. Remember that we are, and are there people that are already experts in all of this? I think you can connect those dots to say, in a system where such efficiencies have been built in many different areas of the economy, how can you take advantage of that to outsource things to those specific providers who've gotten really, really good, really, really efficient, because you're not going to be able to build your own capacity? And just be careful. Because I do worry that any demand shocks to the system, like make sure your contracts are strong. I worry that sometimes we're going to have these sorts of problems where we're outstripping our abilities because we don't have enough capacity in the system. So if you really need it, build it in-house.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a feature of just-in-time, right? Is that it's going to work 90% of the time, 10%, the world's going to fall apart. We're going to have to deal with it.
It was designed to reduce the cost of the overall system.
Yeah.
And the amount of investment necessary in inventory, et cetera, et cetera. It did that.
Yeah.
It doesn't come risk-free, right? You increase risks elsewhere. So you reduce the risk that you have too much inventory. You reduce the risk that you've got too many resources working on a thing, but you increase the resources of an outage.
Yeah, the chances of an outage.
The
Yeah.
probability of an outage.
Yeah.
So I think we see that in medicine. I think we see that in energy, right? Like big demands on energy during the summer or winter, and you get brownouts. You get people are asked to not charge their cars or whatever it is that they're going to ask us to do next.
Yeah. Run their air conditioning.
Run your air conditioning, right? So
water your lawn.
Water your lawn.
Yeah.
100%, right? So I honestly did have a purpose for all that, but there you go.
It's really interesting, and I am delighted that we kind of started this conversation. Like, right, I don't know that we have all that much to say, and clearly it sort of spun up. So that was great. That was a good conversation. Thank you. I'm really happy for it.
So, in terms of predictions for the week, this is a longer term. It's not just for a week. It's not something we're going to come in next week and close out,
right?
Because it'll be some time before we get the reporting we need in order to answer the following question.
Yep.
And the question is, how did retailers fare for the holiday season? I.e., was it good, medium, bad, or whatever in-betweens you want to put in there?
Yeah.
As measured by their quarter, whichever quarter falls that the holiday season falls into, because some do a weird 53-week thing, some close in like January, like there's all sorts of weird companies on the retail side. But how retailers report revenues and earnings for the holiday quarter. So I'm going to include everyone from Nordstrom to Walmart.
I was just going to ask if we want to bifurcate the prediction from.
Oh, yeah. No, you can. Yeah, you can.
Kind of lower.
Yep, you can.
Income focus to higher income focus.
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. I'm ready.
Go.
I think Nordstrom, Cartier, Rolls-Royce, the high end, the very high end
Rolls-Royce. Yikes.
I think they're still selling cars.
Yeah, no. But you mean like who's the watch?
Rolex?
Yeah, Rolex. Yeah.
I think billionaires are doing very, very well. I think the top 1% are doing quite well and will spend money. I think that's what is propping up the U.S. economy. So I think those types of retailers will report out and be strong.
Okay.
Walmart, Dollar General, the lower end, I think are going to struggle because I really do believe that middle market and lower market are struggling quite a bit.
I agree with you on the high end. So I believe, I don't have evidence yet, except I guess it's not evidence. I read about the K-shaped economy. That feels true. So I have yet to see the financial results of whether it's actually true or not, but it feels true. So in that, I agree with you that the upper end brands and retailers are going to do well. The middle tier brands and retailers, the Walmarts, Target, Costco, sort of. Costco's tough because they actually have it. I think I forwarded on a piece about how they're talking right now about how they try to reach up a little
Yeah.
to get more upper middle class folks
Yeah.
who aren't the highest end of the upper part of the K, right? Who are also looking for bargains. The middle class is looking for bargains at what used to be the bargain stores,
Right.
the dollar stores.
JCPenney.
Are they even existing?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jose.
Yeah.
But those that used to cater at the lower end, I think oddly enough, they will do. I think the middle class doesn't want to doesn't want to schlep down that far. And those folks are spending their dollars on necessities.
Mm.
So I think the dollar stores are not going to have a lot of splurge spending to count as great holiday revenues.
Yeah.
I am very intrigued at what happens in the middle.
Yeah.
As to whether they are successful with their strategy. Because I believe they're seeing what typically was their clientele going to the dollar stores, right?
Yeah.
But only spending less and spending it at the dollar store. So I don't think that's good news for the dollar store. I think their reaction to that is, dear God, can we go upstream and grab any dollars from there? I don't know whether they're going to be successful or not. So that's a question mark. So I think the high end, I think they're probably going to have a record year for selling watches at the high end watch stores in the world.
Yeah.
The middle end is a big question mark for me, huge question mark for me. And then the lower end, I think, is going to announce poor revenues and earnings.
Struggle. Yeah.
Because even if their revenues hold at all, it's going to be in lower margin items, and so their profitability is going to be hurt. So I don't know about that middle tier. And one of the reasons why that bugs me so much is that the U.S., in my humblest opinion, one of the reasons why the U.S. punches so far above our weight class, 5% of the world's population controlling 20 to 25% of the world's wealth, right? And technology, and, is because we have a strong middle class.
Yeah.
I think every billionaire should get down on their knees and thank the middle class, because I think a strong middle class is what made our economy, period.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
full stop.
Agreed.
And so I am very concerned about what happens to them, and I'm watching that mid set of retailers and whether they'll be successful at getting a bigger portion of that group, who always have aspired, rightfully so,
to do better than their parents did.
To do better than their parents did. Yeah. To reach higher.
Yeah, that was always my goal.
It's our parents' goal for us.
Yeah. Yep.
As is our job with our kids.
Okay, so let me summarize this.
Yeah.
Lower end going to do badly. Higher end going to do great. Don't really have a prediction for the middle.
Don't have it, but so curious.
Yeah.
Really concerned and curious.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? It means I wouldn't be surprised by a downside answer.
Yep.
Would I be surprised at an upside answer? I probably would.
I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I'd be surprised at an upside answer. So, yeah, medium to down, I guess, is my prediction based on that. I don't want it to be true.
There's a lot of things I don't want that are true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that forces me into a decision.
Yeah. Okay. Well, be interesting to come back and see how this plays out.
We'll be back before then, but we won't circle back to this until late January plus, and when these folks are actually closing out their financials and actually reporting their earnings.
Yeah. All right. So I think that wraps us for this week. Let me just take a quick peek into
What's the subject for next week?
Oh my gosh. I'm not going to be able to put my hands on that real quick. So
Please hold.
there we go. Okay. So today was how do you decide whether to outsource or build in-house? This is next week. It's going to be really interesting. What role should AI and automation play in a small business today?
Similar answer.
To
When you outsource, it's a form of outsourcing, right? So we'll get there. We'll get there next week.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this, thank Ava because she did a great job at putting this together, editing it down, and getting something poignant out. And also suggest it to a friend. Subscribe, like. Thanks very much, and we will catch you next week.
Bye-bye.
All right. I find it really interesting and fun where our conversations go during these things.
When I ramble?
That's not at all what I'm suggesting. Oh, shit.
I need booze.